Okay. Sorry. Hello. Welcome. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. It is the 17th, which means we are now in the second half of the month, which feels crazy. I did move a couple of my stickies for the Kanban board. I did check in with my new tracking over here. Again, this is a new experiment. We'll see how it goes. So far, it's going okay. But yeah, so today is Monday. We want to try and get this week set up to where we feel like we're in a good headspace for the rest of the week. Try and set things up for, this week, next week, whenever, the rest of August, making sure that we are remembering to put everything on the calendars, the to-do lists, all of that. So yeah, that's sort of where we are, is hoping to get our life in line. So Monique is here and says, Happy Monday. Happy Monday. You're going to go grab your Buffy tarot deck. Excellent. This month went by really fast. Yeah, it feels like it has been. But at the same time, it feels like the days have been very much blurring together in terms of like, it's been over 90 degrees most of the month. Like, it's just, summer heat. Monique sent out your author newsletter. You'll share the link to the newest one. Fantastic. Thanks. You're also contemplated what you want to do as far as planning and journaling for 2027. I ordered with the fall launch for Archer and Olive, I ordered a B5 and an A5 journal. And I'm obsessively checking my email because the tracking link shows that they created the label and they're like, it's, quote unquote, been shipped. But really all it is they've created the label for it. And we finally have an update, because it was sitting, all I had was an update for Thursday. And it was like Thursday 4:30 p.m. and then Thursday 10:45 p.m. And then apparently today they recognized that they received it and have started processing it as of 11:30 this morning. So that's a new update. So it's currently in Texas. Hopefully it will get on a plane and head to Georgia or a truck. I don't know. Depends on which one's cheaper for them. My guess is it'll come by plane, but cargo plane, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm waiting for those to show up because I'm excited about them. But yeah, so I do have to start thinking about what I'm going to do in terms of 2027, because we are nearing the last quarter, which is crazy. That we're almost there. I don't think I need to be worried because I have plenty of notebooks. So yeah. So I'm not worried about not having a notebook. It's just which size do I want to pick? Because again, this year I've been in a square, and I've been in a B5, and I like both of them. I've also been in an A5 for my reading journal, which has been abandoned. I think the last thing I put in there was a bunch of pages for April, and I don't think I put anything in there. Here, what month was this? Okay, I put a couple things. I put a couple of titles in for the last month that I did, but yeah, it was April. So I haven't done anything since April, and that was where like this is done. So I still had like probably about half of the journal to go. I'm sure that if I actually like went back and did the titles, I would probably be finishing up this or close to, depending on how much I had to say about each of the titles. But so at some point I should do that because I would like to know how many titles I have read, whereas Monique has been keeping track and has read 50, whereas I have not been keeping track. So, yeah. And I also have not been reading my physical TBRs. I've been reading like everything else. I've started quite a number of my physical TBRs and then I get distracted by other things. And yeah, so I'm still having the same problem that I've been having. So I think I may at some point just need to buy a Kindle, buy some sort of electronic reader. Because that seems to be, I seem to be reading more digitally now. So I don't know. Monique says, I wonder if I'll read 75 books by December, like the total for the year. I think you can do it. Yeah. At the rate you're going, it might happen. Yeah, absolutely. You are low-key on the Hobonichi hype train, just keeping your eye out for like a sale. Yeah. You know for sure that the Hobonichi Weeks has been a great as your like capture method. Nice. Okay. Great. For next year, you might use the Voyagers, which is the essentially like a Travelers, but it's off-brand because Travelers is like branded thing. Because it worked great while you were traveling. Nice. Yeah, I have a specific journal that I dedicated to being my travel journal. And I think only one other time did I take it out somewhere because I couldn't find any of my other notebooks real quick. So it has one other like notes session in there, but otherwise it's all travel. But it's not, I think it's close to A5, but I don't think it's A5. I think it's something arbitrary. Monique says, I figured out the way to do TBRs now. You just make a different TBR every month. Yeah, see, I'm such a like, I'm in the mood for something like this. I guess it's a mood reader that I don't seem to be doing well with like TBRs, but I also don't seem to be doing well by moving everything to like my TBR shelf. So I should probably try a different method because my current one is not working. But that's going to be your method going forward. Nice. Hopefully it continues to work for you. Megan is here. Hello. Welcome. The capture method, by the way, you got the term from Rachel in Theory. The Hobonichi Weeks has been your place for writing down all the random stuff. And yet you're a total mood reader. Yeah, see, that's the thing is like, I don't know how to necessarily like make a TBR for the month if my mood is unpredictable. So I don't know. Monique says, hey to Megan. Megan says, I've been reading 15 minutes a day from the 10 books I've started and haven't finished. I like that. I should probably do that because I do now have a bunch that are in progress. That's your TBR. Yes. Yeah, I like that. And it would sort of align with the like soft, the super soft 75 that I started for myself and then have sort of gone by the wayside. But yeah. So that's what I've tried the wheel and it always comes with like it pops up like the second or the third in a series or it pops up a nonfiction when I want a fiction. So it's like I don't yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Jessica Corinne's goobers who read prompts are your starting point when it comes to your TBRs. Yeah, I forget that I have those. And then I'm like, what's on my shelf? Megan says, I have 21 minutes left of the Waiting for Godot audiobook. Oh. I will not give you spoilers, but I know it happens. So Monique says, my next read is Easy Money by Ben McKenzie. Is that fiction or nonfiction? Easy Money, Cryptocurrency, Casino Capitalism, and the Golden Age of Fraud. Oh, basis for documentary. Everyone is lying to you for money. Interesting. Interesting. You've already seen the play, so you know how it goes. But now you're listening to it. Gotcha. Samuel Beckett is a hoot. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so since it is Monday, I have a little bit of work in the journal to do. And then I have to start drafting. I should be editing too, so maybe I should do one editing sprint and then switch to drafting. So maybe we'll do that. So yeah, I need to do at least a little bit of editing today. Whether or not it gets done on stream, it does need to get done. Get a queer vibe from the story. There's definitely a queer vibe in terms of a lot of the plays and playwrights from that era. So it's nonfiction. Ben McKenzie, famous for being on the OC Gotham, has an economics degree, so he spends the book and the documentary investigating the crypto industry. Yeah. Charlie says, hello, welcome. No, you're not imagining it. Like they were all repressed and just trying to be sneaky about it. And not all of them, but a great number of them. And they were a lot of times theater allowed people to express the emotions that they wanted to by dressing it up in drama. So, yeah. Fun thing that you learned today, St. Paul quoted the Greek play Medea in his letter to the Romans. Makes sense. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember like timeline wise when the original Medea like would have been performed in Greece. So, but yeah, sort of makes sense. You're going to look up the chapter and verse. Fair enough. All right. The other thing I have to do is clean my glasses. So if you wear glasses and your glasses are feeling smudgy and dusty and all of that, remember to like wipe them on your t-shirt, clean them off, microfiber towel, whatever. But yeah, I have the little lens wipes that I need to do. Medea was created and performed hundreds of years before New Testament canon. Yeah, it's equivalent of quoting Shakespeare. Yeah. So don't forget to clean your glasses so that you can see all the words that you're reading and writing. That's a good thing, right? Well, eventually soon we're going to have to start thinking about what kind of calendar we want for next year. I've also enjoyed Mom's Bob Ross calendar because that's been fun. All right, so for the weekend, we have a wonderful quote. I don't want to be at the mercy of my emotions. I want to use them to enjoy them and to dominate them, from Oscar Wildcat. Speaking of queer writers. Then we have, around here, I am the COO, Cuteness Overload Officer, who has found a box. Look at that face. So cute. So squishable. Okay, today we have number 14. It's the chameleon. Oh, so speaking of numbers, I need to check my lottery ticket. Somebody won the big Powerball, but I don't know what state. And I bought a ticket for that drawing. So I need to check on it. I mean, of course, we always hope that it's us, you know. Just think, I could do a whole lot with a bunch of millions. Anyway, 14. I can build my own library. I can start my own grant and trust fund for the said grant for publishing. It'd be great. Anyway, 14. It's the chameleon. Act as if. So there we go. Here's our chameleon. Okay. The chameleon spirit shares her gift with you today to prepare you for changes that will greatly benefit you. Outer conditions are changing, and you are required to come into harmony with them so that you can create your greatest dream. Feeling sensitive? Good, because that will come in handy, enabling you to determine how best to adapt to your environment and the people within it, while at the same time maintaining your integrity and inner equilibrium. Even if you feel like you're in uncharted territory, the chameleon has complete faith in your ability to fit in and learn the lay of the land, adapting as necessary. This is a fortunate time to act as if and do as others do until the new ways feel familiar and completely natural. Life is offering you a great lesson. Adapting isn't about losing yourself, it's about learning how to dance with others. So there you go. Okay. That is the card for today. So now we can get to work, right? As soon as my eye stops itching. Okay. Let's start with the flowers today. Share screen, share screen. Make it big. Okay. All righty. 1, save your document. 2, make sure you take a sip of whatever it is we're hydrating with. Cheers. That good old hydration. 3 is to straighten your spine or roll your shoulders back for that posture check. Make sure not slouching too much. And 4 is make sure that if you need a break, take a break. Here we go. 30 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. We've managed the first sprint. I did attend to my journal and get everything caught up from the end of last week, and then this week as well, sort of like caught up to events that I know about, things that need to be happening on certain days, and the rest of today's to-do list. I also checked in with I forgot to put my star up there this morning, so I did that. What else? I sent one of my besties a package at the beginning of last week, and because it was supposed to be 3-day shipping, should have made it to her place by the end of the week. But I hadn't heard anything from her, so I just sent her a message and was like, hey, did you get the package yet? If she hasn't, I don't know what I'm going to do because I didn't take a picture of the tracking number. So I'd have to, I think I've still got the receipt. Maybe the receipt still has maybe the receipt has the tracking number, or at least it has a transaction number, so maybe the post office can look it up. Anyway, how bad does shipping cost these days? It was in like a little like brown bubble mailer, like more padded mailer, I guess I should say. And they were very lightweight. So, but even still, it cost like $10 to send it, 3-day shipping. So, which that was the most economical of the options for that mailer. So, and it was a pretty small mailer. So it was not great, but it wasn't as bad as I feared it could have been. So, yeah. Also, hello, welcome. Today's card is the 3 of Wands. Trying to remember. Three of Wands. Card of stability, past, present, future, maiden, mother, crone, etc. So like the trifecta of things. Upright can be established strength, business leadership and acumen, trade, commerce, cooperation. It's a card of strength that has already been established. So yeah, that's what my notes say. You love your local US people. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what we went to the teeny tiny post office rather than the big one, because I love the lady that's there rather than the big one. The main one for Athens is always crazy busy. Yeah. Momentum, confidence, expansion, growth, but foresight. Yeah, looking ahead towards that. Yeah. Okay, so there's that. Let's do another sprint. Let's do our second sprint. Also, don't forget to do the poll for today, which is how your main character feels about thunderstorms. Does your main character love them? Do they not really like them, but they'll be okay? Or is your main character like hate them or is terrified of them? So that's the poll for today. Getting to know our characters a little bit better. Okay, I keep clicking, double clicking. Anyway, all right. We need a timer. Timer. Share screen. Duckies, make it big. All right, so 1, save your document. 2, make sure you have something to sip on. Cheers. 3, straighten your spine or roll your shoulders back for that posture check. Make sure you're not slouching too much. And 4 is make sure that if you need a break, take a break. Howdy, Funky. Welcome. 30 minutes. Here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. That feels like it went by pretty fast. But here we are. That was the end of our second sprint. So Diane was turning on the live stream for Court TV to listen to that while you're working on eating Uncrustables and drawing in your sketchbook. So I asked if this was like real Court or sort of like the dramatized versions of Court. But apparently it's real Court, and they're talking about the postpartum psychosis trial. So I was reading up a little bit about that as well. So I got a little bit of work done, and then I got distracted and was sort of reading NPR's article that they put out yesterday about the trial and postpartum psychosis and all that kind of stuff. Here's the link to Monique's latest newsletter and the latest Instagram post. Monique's BFF was also telling you about the case. Diane says, I haven't kept up with it, but just enough to question certain things. Youngest daughter has been following it, so it's something that y'all talk about. Gotcha. Andy is here. Hello. Welcome. Monique's currently getting lunch on the stove. Nice. You're cooking pork chops and boiling water for pasta. Nice. We're currently boiling ribs, beef ribs, to have for later. Did I say PBS? PBS is not what I meant. NPR is what I meant. NPR has a segment and also an article about it. Kara just posted a new video. This one is about the sacred geometry kit. Nice. Yeah, I think I did an oopsie, but no, it was NPR. They're not talking a whole lot about they're sort of kind of skimming over her action. Like they've mentioned it, but they're more focused on sort of like the systemic medical gaps, and sort of like, why isn't postpartum psychosis in the big book of mental illnesses as its own thing? It's apparently like a sub-designation of stuff that you can get in a couple of weeks after you give birth. And so doctors aren't necessarily, doctors and doulas and all that kind of stuff, they're not necessarily specifically trained to spot the psychosis aspect of things. So it often goes misdiagnosed, apparently, according to the article. Did I miss? Did I miss something? Diane's telling Funky to put your clothes back on. I didn't say I wanted you to model. I may have said NPR, but yeah. Well, I think it would take a while to get to PBS. PBS always feels like a little behind to me. So the eccentric Raven, hello, welcome. Yeah, so I don't know. There's always sort of like, there's a entertainment aspect of court when it's not your when it's not your problem. And so they can be very rather holy, if you will. But also, so I was, I think it was in South Carolina, ran across a post from a lady, this was a while back, that she had never gotten a speeding ticket before, but got pulled over by a sheriff's deputy for like hands-free ticket, because she was doing something for the GPS on her mounted cell phone, according to her. So she got a ticket. She was like, yeah, no problem. And the ticket said how much it was going to be, which was like $260-some. But it was her first offense. And since she was curious about the process, she started looking into it. The website for the state said the first offense for hands-free was only supposed to be $100. So, of course, she was a little bit more confused. Well, it says $100 plus court fees. But the ticket said you didn't have to go to court. You could just pay it. And so she was a little confused as to why the court cost was put in if you were didn't do the court part. Anyway, so she went to court on her date, and she said there was no judge, there's no bailiff, there was none of that. There was just the sheriff's deputy who had given out the ticket. And so she's like, this feels a little odd. And the sheriff's deputy or whoever it was like, we're going to try and get you in and out as, quick and as efficient as possible. If you are going to leave and you're going to pay it at a different date, you got to check in with the receptionist, and be like, yes, you are here. That way you don't get marked for failure to appear. But like, and they didn't do roll call, so how do they know you're there? Other than if you tell the reception ladies that you're there. So it was a very confusing. She was very confused as to like how was this process normal? Was this like a thing? So like you didn't need a judge? She was very confused about it. And I have to say, I would agree that would feel very confusing. But again, like I wouldn't know either because I've never gotten a ticket. So again, I would probably be curious as well. So yeah. But again, I was sucked into it because, again, it was not my problem. Like, I'm happy to hear and listen to other people's drama with the court. I don't necessarily want to have drama with the court myself. In fact, I very much would like to avoid that. But I feel like it can suck you in to listen and watch all of the court dramas, whether they are real dramas or dramatized dramas. So Kara says, I'm putting up the new book promo hosts on Reader's Roost. So here's the link for that. Centric Raven says, does Arizona have thunderstorms? My main character is from there. They do. They're kind of rare. I would say you probably get more heat lightning than much else. But yeah, you can get some thunderstorms there from my, like, we passed through on our adventures when we lived out west. And I remember there being a couple of thunderstorms. But again, like, it was rare. But yeah. Funky puts your parka back on. Yeah, because you've been getting all of our rain. And I would like it back, Funky. Because it still hasn't rained, which means we're back up to like 95, 96 degrees again. So I need my rain back, Funky. Diane says, I like the one where the woman got a ticket for driving with a cell phone. Oh, yes. Yeah. She got a ticket for driving with a cell phone in her right hand, but she doesn't have a right hand. She's an amputee, yes. And so I don't know if y'all have seen the body cam footage that was released from the cop. But he's at her window, sort of like questioning her as to, because she's like, you didn't see it. You saw wrongly. Your statement is wrong. And then he's like trying to make her like swear or promise that she didn't do it. And she's like, hand to God. And she puts up her stump. So sassy. But it was apparently a little too much sass for that cop's ego. So he had a fit and told her to take it up with the court. And it got dismissed. Of course it did. But just the hand to God was perfect comedic timing. And if you haven't seen the body cam footage, please look it up. It's hilarious. Becca is here. Hello. Welcome. What are you working on today? Is it your chapter turn for your co-written project with Kate? Diane says lol. Yeah, is the body cam footage is just great. And if you combine that with sort of like with the after what she recorded, also just like stitch them together, and it tells a very very good narrative. But yeah, it's great. You're still having the afternoon showers. Yeah. Funky has stolen all of our rain yet again. I think this is Funky's long-term plan to raise the sea levels so he can be an actual pirate. So Funky says, it is my turn. Yay. Did I just say Bunky? What? Becca says it is my turn. My brain, I think I need to go get some caffeine. I think my brain is melting. You're about halfway done with your chapter. Nice. What is this, Myrtle Beach? I mean, you might be having Myrtle Beach come to you. I don't know if you like keep holding the rain. But yeah. All right, let's do our third friend. We did the River Duckies. Let's do the Rainbow Record. Diane says 82 here and overcast. Oh, that would be so nice. It's now up to 96. It was when we started. When we started, or just before we started, it was like 92 degrees. It's now 96 degrees outside, and I don't want to go outside at all. Funky says, whoops, I shook the rain stick last week. Yeah, and somebody probably watered their lawn and summoned the rain, because that's how it always works, is if you water, then it's going to rain, so you didn't really have to water. But yeah. Okay, let's do this. So 1, save your document. 2 is make sure you have a sip of whatever it is that you are sipping on. Cheers. Yeah, Becca says it's 90 here for the foreseeable future as well. Yeah. I'm not actually sure when it's supposed to dip down underneath. Okay, on Saturday we have a high of 88. And then next Wednesday a high of 87, and then everything else is above 90. Ugh. Okay, well, it is what it is. Thank goodness for AC. All right, let's do this. So we did the save, we did the sip. Now we need to sit up, roll our shoulders back, that posture check. And 4 is make sure if we need a break, take a break. Here we go, 30 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. That is the third sprint. Hopefully we managed to get a little bit more done. Hopefully it's all good work. I wound up editing a good bit. So not a whole lot of new words, but a decent amount of editing, which is good because I typically do avoid the edits and just doom the process to be way, way longer. But yeah, so I did get some editing done, which is nice. Funky was agreeing with Becca in terms of the blech for the 90-degree weather. Monique got the pasta cooking. Ooh, and Diane was celebrating because new oil pastels came in. Yay! I do like oil pastel. I think I like them better than the chalky pastels, the traditional pastels. I'm not very good with them, but I think they're fun, and I enjoy them more than the chalky ones. So Diane says, I used to do a lot of oil pastels and videos on them, but you had to focus on things that you could easily hang. So you switched mediums. Is that hang or handle? It'll be fun to play with them again. Yeah. I have gosh, I don't even know where it would be. I have a piece of, I think, oil pastels. Pretty sure oil pastels that I did that was sort of like a little sprite coming out of a flower. But it also kind of looks like a candle flame sprite. Anyway, I don't know. I liked it, and the blending of it I thought was well done. I tried to replicate it at some point later and was like, this didn't go quite as well. So I'm gonna have to see if I can find it and maybe try and replicate it for a third or fourth time. I don't know how many times I've done it at this point. You got a good chunk of your chapter done. Yay! Excellent. Good. Diane says one of your granddaughters is into oil pastels too. Yeah. I think it's nice because it blends. It's like an extra waxy crayon or less waxy crayon. I don't know. Anyway, it blends easier than crayons for sure, but it still has that kind of familiar feel to it. Whereas the chalks, I suppose they could also feel very familiar if you were a sidewalk chalk kid. But like I don't love the chalk feeling. So that's one of the reasons why I like oil pastels better. They also can blend very nicely though, which is fun. So Diane is celebrating Becca's win of getting a good chunk done of the chapter. Funky got some work writing done. Excellent. Good job. Good job. I mean, unfortunately, you won't be necessarily done with the work writing until Friday afternoon, but hey, you at least got a good chunk done, right? You got today's chunk closer to done, which is fantastic. All right, let's end the poll in terms of how does our main character feel about thunderstorms. 70% of our main characters love thunderstorms. 20% don't hate them, but they'll be okay. They don't really like them either, but they'll be okay. Although I apparently left off the E for hate, and so it just says MC doesn't hat them. Anyway, and then 10% of our main characters hate them or are terrified of thunderstorms. So most of our characters like them. So, all right, I have already scheduled Wednesday and Friday's sessions, so those should be up if you want to like hit the subscribe, the bell reminder dingling thing, if it works, because sometimes it works for YouTube, sometimes it doesn't. So Anyway, thanks for joining me today. Hopefully, I will see y'all on Wednesday. If I don't see you there, hopefully, I will see you in the chats. All right. Bye. Raven says, I decided my main character would hate them because he has reasons to have aversion to electricity. Dingling. Yes, the ding-a-ling thing. You know what I'm talking about. The bell notification thingy, but I don't even know if it doesn't even have a bell anymore. We used to say hit the bell, but then at some point, I think they took the bell away. So I don't know. Anyway, don't forget to save, and I will see y'all soon. Bye.